Welcome back. You're watching WION World One, and this is World DNA with me, Jyotsna Kumar.
And I'm Samiksha Srivastava. It is a power-packed lineup with focus on all the top developments from West Asia. It's a Hamas that has expanded its search for Israeli hostage bodies in the Gaza region, and this comes a day after Egypt had sent experts and equipment to assist. In fact, the International Committee of Red Cross officials met with Hamas in Khan Yunis region, and that is to coordinate efforts while Israel allowed Red Cross and Egyptian teams to search beyond the yellow line, marking its military pullback. We will get you all the ground updates on the show today.
Also on the show, Venezuela has condemned the arrival of a U.S. warship in Trinidad and Tobago as a provocation, accusing Washington and the CIA of trying to spark conflict. Now, Caracas said that it arrested mercenaries linked to a planned false flag attack following the USS Gravely's docking on the island. We'll bring you all the updates on that story as well on World Day. Let's begin with the headlines. Red Cross officials meet with members of Hamas in Khan Yunis to discuss search for missing bodies of Israeli hostages. Israel has allowed Red Cross and Egyptian teams access in the IDF control area for the search.
At least 4 people have died in clashes between supporters of a Cameroon opposition leader and security forces. Supporters of Issa Bakare are claiming election victory against President Paul Biya ahead of official results.
Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces say it has taken control of the western city of El Fasher. The city was Sudanese army's last remaining foothold in the Darfur region.
Venezuela condemns arrival of a US warship in Trinidad and Tobago as a provocation, accuses Washington and the CIA of trying to spark conflict. Caracas says that it arrested mercenaries linked to planned false flag attack.
Argentina's Javier Milei pulls off a win in midterm elections. Early official results show his LLA party securing over 40% of the votes cast for members of Congress.
Cambodia begins withdrawing heavy and destructive weapons from Thai border following a truce with Thailand that was co-signed by President Donald Trump in Kuala Lumpur, the Defense Ministry said.
And as External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar meets U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Kuala Lumpur, discussion on bilateral ties as well as regional and global issues take place.
India's weather agency issues alerts for 23 out of 26 districts in Andhra Pradesh. And this as a deep depression over the southeast Bay of Bengal is expected to intensify into Cyclone Montha.
Brazilian President Lula da Silva announces that Brazil and the United States will hold immediate talks to resolve recent tariff disputes following discussions with U.S. President Donald Trump. The move aims to ease trade tensions and seek mutually beneficial economic solutions.
And our top focus in this edition is the latest that we're tracking from West Asia. The search for the bodies of Israeli hostages in Gaza continues. And this as Israel has now permitted Red Cross and even Egyptian teams to search for the bodies beyond the yellow line in the territory controlled by the Israeli Defense Forces.
Reports in Israeli media have also claimed that even Hamas representatives have been permitted to enter IDF control areas in Gaza, which is to search for the bodies as part of the current ceasefire agreement. Hamas has said that it will return all the hostages it abducted, but the remains of 13 are still in the enclave. Red Cross officials met with members of Hamas in Khan Yunis to discuss how to locate the missing dead bodies of Israeli hostages believed to be in Rafah.
A government spokesperson said that the Egyptian technical team and the Red Cross would use excavators and even trucks for the search for the bodies in territories under Israeli military control. However, she did not mention the reports claiming that Hamas members were also permitted to enter the IDF-held areas.
Now, the Red Cross and the Egyptian team are allowed entry beyond the IDF's yellow line position into Gaza territory to conduct the search for our hostages. Last week, the Prime Minister and his professional team met with the head of Egyptian intelligence here in Jerusalem to talk about the ongoing issues that need to be resolved. One of those topics was why our hostages have not all been returned yet. We are working together to execute this plan and ensure Hamas upholds their side of the agreement.
Israel's Khan public broadcaster has reported that Israel does not know the location of at least 4 of the remaining 13 bodies. Israeli officials have insisted that Hamas could easily return a number of bodies it is currently holding, even as the group has claimed that it needs assistance in locating and recovering them.
Israel has insisted that it will maintain control of security inside Gaza region despite the future deployment of an international security force. Prime Minister Netanyahu has even told ministers that Israel would decide for itself where and when to strike its foes and which countries would be allowed to send troops to police the truce.
We also made it clear with respect to international forces in Gaza that Israel will determine which forces are unacceptable to us, and that is how we operate and will continue to operate. This is, of course, also acceptable to the United States, as its most senior representatives have made clear in recent days. Israel is an independent state. We will defend ourselves on our own, and we will continue to control our own destiny.
Netanyahu's comments came one day after U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio did wind up the latest in a parade of high-level visits by Washington officials. When asked about Netanyahu's comments, the government spokesperson put it more starkly. The Prime Minister has said it's going to be done the easy way or the hard way.
The Prime Minister has said, Joel, it's going to be done the easy way or the hard way, and Israel will have overall security control of the Gaza Strip. I'll point you back to the 20-point plan, which we continue to reiterate, which Israel remains extremely committed to as we have upheld our side of the agreement. Gaza will be demilitarized and Hamas will have no part in governing the Palestinian people.
Israeli media has reported that the international force may include troops from Pakistan as well. According to a report in a news site, members of Knesset Foreign Affairs and even Defense Committee were told during a closed-door meeting last week that the International Stabilization Force will be made up of soldiers from Indonesia, Azerbaijan and Pakistan. Indonesia has publicly offered to send troops for the effort.
Now, the Kremlin has dropped a big announcement. Russia has successfully tested the Burevestnik cruise missile.
Also, Russian president calls it unstoppable weapon after its successful final test. The missile is world's only nuclear-powered cruise missile. Our next story explains you why exactly this is not just another weapon system, it's a strategic game-changer for Russia.
Russia raises the stakes in the global arms race. Dressed in military uniform, President Vladimir Putin unveils a weapon the world has never seen before. A nuclear-powered cruise missile capable of flying for days without refueling. The Kremlin calls it unstoppable. The West calls it terrifying. The 9M730 Burevestnik is a nuclear-powered cruise missile. It is a ground-launched, low-flying cruise missile that is not only capable of carrying a nuclear warhead, but is also nuclear-powered. It uses a miniature nuclear reactor as its power source. This terrifying capability would allow it to fly for days, evading missile defenses and approaching targets from unexpected directions. Its existence is the ultimate trump card in the escalating arms race. Putin, who is also the Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Russian Armed Forces, visited a command post, praised the unique nuclear-capable weapon.
And now the decisive tests are complete. A great deal of work remains to be done to put these weapons on combat alert. That's clear. All the regulations need to be met. Nevertheless, the key objectives have now been achieved.
Unlike conventional missiles that rely on chemical fuel, the Burevestnik missile, dubbed the SSCX-9, Skyfall by NATO, is powered by a compact nuclear reactor. That means almost infinite range. It can circle the globe, evade radar, and strike from unpredictable angles. Though subsonic, its unpredictability and global reach, flying circular paths to bypass entire continents of defense, is what makes it a nightmare scenario for Western military planners. The crucial tests are complete, though Western experts had found that the missile had failed in previous tests. With nuclear rhetoric rising and arms control talks frozen, the successful Burevestnik test signals one thing clearly. The nuclear race is back, faster, stealthier, and far deadlier than before. Bureau Report, WION The World is one.
Shifting focus then, amid heightened tensions between the US and Venezuela, an American warship has now arrived nearby Trinidad and Tobago.
Now, Venezuela has called it a provocation. It also claims to have arrested mercenaries with ties to the CIA. U.S. Navy destroyer USS Gravely docked at the port of Spain for a joint military training with the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Forces. The U.S. Embassy says the ship will remain there from the 26th to the 30th of October. But Venezuela says it is a military provocation by Trinidad and Tobago in coordination with the CIA, aimed at spurring a full military confrontation.
Venezuela has also said that it had captured a group of mercenaries linked to CIA, whose goal is to carry out a false flag attack in the region. A false flag attack is an operation when an act is carried out in such a way that a different party appears responsible for the same.
Earlier this month, U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed reports that he authorized the CIA to carry out covert operations in Venezuela. Now, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has levied accusations of false flag attacks before including a plan to plant explosives in the U.S. Embassy in Caracas in early October.
U.S. has carried out a number of strikes on boats in the Caribbean and Pacific region. That is the Pacific region, with the Trump administration claiming that these ships were trafficking drugs as well.
The Pentagon escalated its military buildup in the Caribbean this Friday by deploying an aircraft carrier group. The USS Gerald R. Ford joined 8 additional warships, a nuclear submarine, and several F-35 aircraft already deployed in the region. And U.S. President Donald Trump is losing support among Hispanic adults.
A new poll even shows that his standing with the group has now fallen sharply since he returned to the office at the start of the year.
Now, according to the latest poll, only 25% of Hispanic adults now say they have a somewhat or very favorable view of President Trump. That is down from 44% in a poll taken just before he began his second term in January.
At the same time, Hispanic adults are showing less confidence in how Trump is handling the economy and even immigration matter. These are the two issues that helped drive his support during last year's campaign. Overall approval of his job performance has also fallen, with 41% approving of Trump's handling of the presidency in the month of March, compared with just 27% this month itself.
Hispanic voters were a key part of the coalition that helped Trump return to the White House, but his latest decline in popularity comes as his administration continues tough immigration enforcement measures that have most directly affected Latino communities across income levels.
The poll also shows that only about 1/4 of Hispanic adults favor deporting all immigrants living illegally in the US, while roughly half are opposed and the rest have no opinion on deportation. And in news from the UK, a 3-day manhunt has now come to an end, with UK police having arrested Hadush Kebatu.
Now, he is, of course, a migrant sex offender who was mistakenly released from prison in North London. A CCTV footage released by UK police did show Kebatu climbing stairs in a building in Dalston in East London. Kebatu was sentenced in September to a 12-month term for sexual assaults of a teenage girl and a woman. He was meant to be sent to an immigration detention center to be deported when he was freed by mistake on Friday.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer cautioned the authorities that such mistakes should not happen again. UK Secretary of State for Justice David Lammy said that Kebatu is in police custody and that he will be deported soon.
What we will also do is ascertain how on earth it was that he was ever released into the public in the first place when he should have been deported. The Justice Secretary has ordered an investigation that will take place. There will be accountability, and we will be open and honest with the public about what went wrong, who is being held to account, and what we plan to do about it to stop this happening again.
The 38-year-old Ethiopian's offences sparked angry summer-long protests outside the hotel where he was living in Essex, east of London. Events which helped set off other demonstrations amid rising tensions in Britain over immigration. Now, France's crown jewels vanished from the Louvre a week ago, and now 2 suspects are under arrest.
However, the glittering mystery is far from over, Jyotsna. In fact, one of the suspects was apprehended around 10 p.m. local time on Saturday at the airport as he was about to board a plane abroad. The arrest is now being reported by French media as well.
Now, 8 artifacts worth a staggering $102 million. Among them were diamond and emerald-laden pieces once worn by 19th century royals, including Napoleon III's his 3rd wife, Empress Eugenie, and the crime shocked the nation and left the Louvre humiliated. The thieves struck with precision and calm.
It was on 19th of October that Paris awoke to one of the boldest heists in modern history, with 4 men disguised as construction workers used a stolen lifting truck to scale the Louvre's facade. That is, under 7 minutes, they smashed their way into the Apollo Gallery, home to France's priceless crown jewels, and vanished into the streets on motorbikes before the police could even react.
Investigators believe that these 2 other members of the gang are still at large and can already be attempting to melt down or sell parts of the collection on the black market. Well, for now, France's most glittering treasures remain lost and its pride wounded. The question haunting Paris will be that the jewels of France ever return. Will the jewels ever return to their rightful home?
And although French ministers insist that security at the museum had worked properly on the day, the Louvre director has spoken of weak and aging infrastructure as well as lack of CCTV cameras at the famed museum.
The Louvre has now transferred some of its most precious jewels to the Bank of France after the spectacular daylight heist exposed woeful flaws in museum security. They will now be stored in the bank's most secure vault, 26 meters below the ground floor of its elegant headquarters in central Paris. The vault is already home to 90% of France's gold reserves.
News from Jamaica, Hurricane Melissa has strengthened into a Category 4 storm, and this as it heads towards Jamaica, bringing flash floods and even landslides.
The system can intensify further and unleash heavy rainfall across the northern Caribbean. The slow-moving storm has already caused fatalities, with at least 3 people dead in Haiti and 1 in the Dominican Republic. A Category 5 hurricane is defined by winds of 157 miles per hour or more. In Jamaica, more than 650 shelters have been activated, and officials say warehouses are stocked and thousands of food packages are ready for quick distribution if needed.
The sea took our house. We have no place to stay. We came to the high school, but we have nothing to give the children to eat. We ask for help and support. We are not asking for much.
Torrential rain is expected to trigger widespread life-threatening flash floods and landslides, especially in hilly and mountainous terrain. The National Hurricane Center has even issued a warning saying that extensive infrastructural damage, long-duration power and communication outages, and potentially prolonged isolation of communities are likely in Jamaica and Haiti.
Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness urged residents to take the threat seriously and prepare accordingly.
So I would urge all my fellow citizens, everyone who is now feeling nervous, anxious, uncertain, that now is the time to be prepared.
Travelers were even seen at Jamaica airport as Hurricane Melissa approached, with many cutting short their holidays and departing early too.
Yeah, hi. We're on vacation. It was supposed to be for 8 days. We made it 7 days because of the hurricane. So we're leaving a day early with JetBlue.
The residents of Belgium's Castellet are competing in a water sports, but with a twist.
That's right, Jyotsna. People are now trading boats for giant hollowed-out pumpkins, paddling across a pond in cheerful annual race. This has grown into a much-loved tradition celebrating the season and harvest.
They are very big. We also saw the ones being scraped, like how they made them. So that's also nice. And here they're paddling, yeah.
And with that, it's time to slip in a very short break on World DNA, but lots coming up after we come back.
We'll start with Cambodia, that has begun withdrawing heavy and destructive weapons from the Thai border following a truce with Thailand that was co-signed by U.S. President Donald Trump in Kuala Lumpur. We'll get you all the updates on the other side.
Intel report warns 120 armed terrorists are ready to infiltrate into India, operating from 6 advanced launching pads inside Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. We'll tell you more about that after we come back.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Welcome back. You're watching Beyond World is One, and this is World DNA with me, Jyotsa Kumar, and my colleague, Samiksha Srivastava. Let's begin with the headlines.
Red Cross officials meet with members of Hamas in Khan Yunis to discuss search for missing bodies of Israeli hostages. Israel has allowed Red Cross and Egyptian teams access in IDF-controlled area for the search.
At least 4 people have died in clashes between supporters of a Cameroon opposition leader and security forces. Supporters of Issa Bakari are claiming an election victory against President Paul Biya ahead of official results.
Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces say that it has taken control of the western city of El Fasher, and this city was Sudanese army's last remaining foothold in the Darfur region.
Venezuela condemns arrival of a U.S. warship in Trinidad and Tobago as a provocation, accusing Washington and the CIA of trying to spark conflict. Qatar said it arrested mercenaries linked to a planned false flag attack.
Argentina's Javier Milei pulls off a win in midterm elections. Early official results show that his LLA party secured over 40% of the votes cast for members of the Congress.
U.S. President Donald Trump departs Malaysia for Japan on second leg of his Asia tour. In Kuala Lumpur, Trump oversaw the signing of the Cambodia-Thailand Peace Pact.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Kuala Lumpur on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit. Both leaders discuss bilateral ties as well as regional and global issues.
India's weather agency issues alerts for 23 out of 26 districts in Andhra Pradesh as a deep depression over the southeast Bay of Bengal is expected to intensify into Cyclone Montha.
Gold prices declined to approximately $4,080 per ounce, marking the first weekly drop since mid-August. This retreat follows signs of a nearing US-China trade agreement and concerns that the recent surge in precious metal prices may have been excessive.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said ASEAN is the key pillar of India's Act East policy.
Additionally, Prime Minister Modi even asserted that 21st century belongs to India and ASEAN, and this while he delivered a virtual address to the 47th Summit of Southeast Asian Nation in Kuala Lumpur.
Listen to this first.
आसियान भारत की एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी का मुख्य स्तंभ है। भारत सदैव आसियान सेंट्रलिटी और इंडो पैसिफिक पर आसियान के आउटलुक का पूर्ण समर्थन करता रहा है।
Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim said that he is pleased on behalf of ASEAN on their deliberations and collaboration with India. He added that the country's ASEAN-India Plan of Action 2026-2030 is to look forward to.
ASEAN India dialogue relations for us remain a force for stability, for mutual prosperity, and with your strides in economic advancement in various fields, I'm sure it will be beneficial both to India and ASEAN.
While Prime Minister Modi virtually addressed the summit, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar represented India in Kuala Lumpur. He also met US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit. In a post on social media platform X, Jaishankar stated that he appreciates the discussion on bilateral ties as well as regional and global issues during the meeting.
The meeting comes and amid the ongoing trade talks between the two countries. Jaishankar had met with Rubio last month at the UN General Assembly in an apparent bid both sides to repair relations ruptured by a number of U.S. actions, including the 50% tariff on Indian goods and an increase in H-1B visa fees. And our assistant editor of Foreign Affairs, Siddhant Sibal, is right now joining us on the broadcast. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. Now, we know that there has been talks between Rubio and Jaishankar. Could you give us a lowdown of what the talks were about and what are we expecting going forward?
Well, there's only one line readout from the Indian side that they discussed bilateral relationship and regional situation as well. But essentially, the fact that both ministers have met is a positive development amid frosty ties, primarily because of Donald Trump's tariffs on India and, of course, his repeated claims that he was responsible for India-Pakistan ceasefire, something that New Delhi has dismissed several times now. We know that when it comes to India-US relationship, both sides are engaged on trade talks. Both sides remain mum on the direction of the trade talks, but it will require a lot of political pushing for any conclusion of trade talks. The regular meetings, as you pointed out, both ministers met on the sidelines of the UNGA as well. And of course, the fact that both the leaders, President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi, have spoken means that there is a line of communication that continues. Yesterday, Rubio said the relationship with India is not at the expense of Pakistan, but there is a lingering doubt when it comes to the relationship. There is increasingly a trust deficit as well, and both sides will be hoping to bridge that.
All right, Siddhant, thank you for all those updates. Remains to be seen if there's any headway anytime soon. For now, we should focus to other stories that we are tracking. In fact, staying with the ASEAN summit, it's Cambodia that has now begun withdrawing heavy and destructive weapons from the Thai border following a truce with Thailand that was co-signed by President Donald Trump in Kuala Lumpur.
Now, 5 days of clashes erupted along Thailand and Cambodia's frontier this summer as territorial dispute triggered open combat, killing more than 40 people and forcing 300,000 to flee their homes.
Thailand and Cambodia agreed to an initial truce in late July after intervention by Trump and Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who chairs the ASEAN bloc. And now a new joint declaration was signed by Thai Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul and Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet, as well as Trump and Anwar, after the US leader landed in the Malaysian capital.
The deal, sealed with a firm handshake between the Thai and Cambodian leaders, contains broad rhetoric confirming both the countries' unwavering commitment to peace and security. It also says they will organize demining efforts along their border, withdraw heavy weapons, and allow access to ceasefire monitor teams organized by the ASEAN region bloc.
Thailand has now promised to release 18 Cambodian soldiers it has held in captivity for the past 3 months. And this soon after the agreement was signed. The White House even announced trade deals with Thailand and Cambodia, which was one of the flurry of deals brokered while Trump was in Kuala Lumpur for the first leg of his Asia tour. He's now headed to Japan, and the tour is set to culminate in a meeting with China's Xi Jinping.
And a major security alert has been issued along the India-Pakistan line of control.
Intel reports warn that 120 armed terrorists are now ready to infiltrate into India, operating from 6 advanced launching pads inside Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
Now, this is a tactical window. Now, every year, before heavy snow closes the mountain passes, terror groups try to slip across. Now, that push has begun. These new launch pads are sophisticated and hard to detect. Terror cells are smaller, mobile, and using tunnels, river routes, and dense forests to evade drones and satellites.
Reports even suggest that the infiltrators are linked to Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahideen, and the Resistance Front, all designated terror groups. They are backed by Pakistan Army and the ISI with training, funding, and even safe havens. India's security grid is now on high alert with patrolling that has been ramped up, advanced drones, and even AI-based surveillance being deployed.
Earlier this year, Operation Sindoor took out several launch pads, but terror groups have regrouped and upgraded their tactics. 2 infiltration attempts have already been foiled, 5 terrorists have been killed, and more attempts are expected before the snow closes the routes. Officials put out that this is a long-standing strategy, pushing fighters into Indian territory through the Kashmir frontier. Now, one of the most intense and heavily guarded borders in the world, the next few weeks will be crucial.
Well, shifting gears in, Pakistan has claimed that its security forces have killed 25 terrorists, including 4 suicide bombers during operations near the Afghan border.
And according to a statement from the Pakistan military's media wing, the terrorists were targeted while attempting 2 major infiltration attempts from Afghanistan into the country's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Now, 5 Pakistani security personnel did also lose their lives in the clashes with the terrorists.
The statement highlighted that infiltration attempts are being carried out at a time when delegations of both Pakistan and Afghanistan are engaged in talks in Turkey.
On the second day of negotiations, both sides, with the mediators present, attempted to reach a final agreement. After about 15 hours of discussions, each side presented a draft proposal to each other in an effort to reach a consensus on the peace talks.
According to reports, the Afghan side has demanded that no violation of its airspace and land borders should occur, urging Pakistan to not allow opposition groups to use its territory against Afghanistan. Also, reports have characterized Pakistan's proposal as countering infiltration and planned attacks from the Afghan territory.
This 3-day negotiation is a continuation of previous talks on Afghanistan-Pakistan issues initiated after the immediate ceasefire agreement in Doha following intense border clashes earlier this month. Now, Pakistan's top military officer has reached out to Dhaka. General Sahir Shamshad Mirza, chairman of Pakistan's Joint Chief of Staff Committee, met Bangladesh's Chief Advisor, Professor Muhammad Yunus.
And this was in a high-level meeting that took place, and the two leaders even discussed ways to improve bilateral ties, focused on trade, investment, defense, and connectivity as well. General Mirza said that two-way shipping route between Karachi and Chittagong is already operational, and plans are also underway to start a Dhaka-Karachi air route soon, and that is to boost connectivity, with both leaders also sharing concerns on pressing global issues like misinformation and the misuse of social media by non-state actors, and that is to undermine peace and stability. The meeting was also attended by Bangladesh's National Security Advisor, Khalilur Rahman, and Pakistan's High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Imran Haider.
The Bangladesh-Pakistan Joint Economic Commission will hold its 9th session on Monday in Dhaka. It will be the first meeting in nearly 20 years since the last session took place on September 12, 2005. The meeting will focus on reviving economic cooperation between the two countries. Both sides will explore ways to increase exports, lower tariffs, and sign a memorandum of understanding to formalize future cooperation.
The encounter is part of a broader revitalization of Bangladesh-Pakistan ties, which also marks a fresh phase in relations after years of limited contact. Also, earlier this year, both nations had flagged a commitment to revive old connections, focusing on trade and youth linkages as well as connectivity.
For Pakistan, the initiative reflects an effort to broaden regional partnerships in Bangladesh. Yunus is adjusting his foreign policy, showing readiness for deeper interaction with Pakistan. However, this new push is not without obstacles. The legacy of the 1971 Liberation War continues to cast a shadow over the relations of the two countries.
In news from India, a 20-year-old Delhi University student was injured in an acid attack allegedly carried out by her stalker.
This girl was on her way to class on 26th of October when three bygone men allegedly threw acid on her in a Ashok Vihar area in broad daylight.
According to Delhi police, the victim stated that while she was walking towards the college, Jitendra, a man known to her, along with his associates Ishan and Arman, came on a bike. Ishan allegedly handed over a bottle to Arman, who threw acid on her. The victim sustained burn injuries on both of her hands while trying to protect her face. The police even said that the victim also revealed that Jitendra used to stalk her and a heated argument had apparently taken place between them about a month ago. Also, police stated that the crime team and FSL team inspected the scene of the crime and on the basis of a statement, the nature of injuries, a case has now been registered and investigation is underway.
Now, the victim, who is currently undergoing treatment, has demanded immediate arrest of all the accused and strict action against them.
सरकार से क्या डिमांड है? जस्टिस मिलना चाहिए.
India's Meteorological Department has issued alerts for 23 out of 26 districts in Andhra Pradesh as a deep depression over the southeast Bay of Bengal is expected to intensify into Cyclone Montha.
Also, extremely heavy rainfall is likely in southern states of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and even Kerala, with thunderstorms and lightning and even gusty winds that are expected in these regions in the next 4 to 5 days.
Now, in view of the developing cyclonic systems over Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, which are expected to intensify over the next 48 hours into Cyclone Montha, the Indian Army has been placed on high alert and is closely monitoring the situation along with the National Disaster Management Authority.
According to reports, the name of the cyclone was submitted by Thailand and is what the next cyclonic storm in North Indian Ocean will be given as per the roster. It was drawn from a pre-approved list for names used for tropical cyclones in the North Indian Ocean region. In Thai, the word reportedly means something along the lines of fragrant flower or beautiful flower too.
Now, Andhra Pradesh has been placed under red alert for 3 days starting from 27th of October, Odisha for 28th of October and 29th, and Telangana as well as Chhattisgarh for 28th of October. Now, according to the IMD, parts of these states are expected to witness intense rainfall in the coming days. And diamonds, world's most enduring symbol of love, is under threat not from time but from science.
That's right, Jyotsna, and it's China that has mastered how to forge nature's hardest stone in a matter of days. Our next report explains why exactly this glittering revolution that's shaking the billion-dollar diamond trade to its core.
It takes the Earth billions of years to create a diamond, but now Chinese machines can do it in 7 days. The glittering myth of the diamond is under siege. China, once a mere consumer of luxury stones, is now churning out flawless artificial gems at a breakneck pace. Chinese factories are pumping out rough lab-grown diamonds by the hundreds of thousands of carats every year, machines simulating volcanic pressure, speeding up nature's billion-year process into days. China now manufactures more artificial diamonds than the rest of the world combined, flooding global markets with gems that look and shine just like the real thing but cost a fraction. The numbers are dazzling. The lab-grown diamond market was worth $25.89 billion in 2024. By 2032, it's projected to hit a staggering $74.45 billion. As affordability meets indistinguishable quality, consumers, especially younger buyers, are switching fast. For them, ethics and cost trump tradition. Industry giants like De Beers are feeling the heat. Prices of natural diamonds have plunged by up to 30% this year. The diamond may still be forever, but who makes it, nature or humans, might soon matter less than ever before. Bureau report, WION The World is one.
From the world of business, in our golden age echoed as Donald Trump signed a series of trade and critical minerals deals with Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia and even Vietnam.
Now, the agreements aim to eliminate tariff barriers, expand market access for U.S. goods, and strengthen cooperation on digital trade and labor rights.
In addition to the agreement with Malaysia this week, we're also signing or nearing completion on trade deals with many other Indo-Pacific partners, from Cambodia to Japan to South Korea. We're delighted to forge richer partnerships on energy technology, artificial intelligence, critical minerals, and other industries. The United States is having its golden age.
Under the new framework, Thailand will remove tariffs on 99% of U.S. goods and even relax foreign investment limits in telecoms. It has also committed to buying 80 U.S. aircraft worth $18.8 billion and $5.4 billion annually in energy imports. Vietnam, which recorded a $123 billion trade surplus with the U.S. last year, has pledged to ramp up American imports to narrow the gap. Also, Malaysia, which is home to 16 million tons of rare earth deposits, has agreed not to restrict exports of critical minerals to the U.S., a move that is aimed at countering China's dominance in the sector.
Meanwhile, U.S.-China trade tensions seem to be calming ahead of the expected face-off between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping. China's top trade negotiator Li Chenggang, while talking about the progress, said that the United States was firm, while China remained resolute in safeguarding its interests.
There were numerous items on the agenda, including export controls on both sides, the issue of reciprocal tariffs going a step further for an extended period of time, the issue of fentanyl tariffs and cooperation on banning the production of fentanyl, the issue of going a step further to expand trade, and the measures related to the U.S. Section 301 tariffs on vessels, among others. Both sides engaged in constructive discussions on these matters. The stance taken by the United States was firm, while China remained resolute in safeguarding its interests.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent expressed confidence in a favorable outcome for the U.S., one where China buys U.S. soybeans and delays rare earth export curbs by at least 1 year. Momentum is now building ahead of November 1st, which is a new deadline that's been set by President Donald Trump in this ongoing economic showdown between the two countries.
Well, shifting focus to sports now, world number 2 Yannick Sinner came from a set down to beat Alexander Zverev and lift the Vienna Open title.
Well, it's the Italian's 4th title of the season and the 22nd of his career. 4-time Grand Slam champion Sinner reached the final without dropping a set, but looked completely off rhythm early on against world number 3 Alexander Zverev, who had won 4 of their previous 7 meetings. He secured the only break of the first set to take control of the match. However, Sinner hit back immediately in the second, racing to a 3-0 lead and forced a decider against the 2021 champion. The final set stayed on serve until the 10th game, despite Sinner battling a thigh issue. The Italian then earned the crucial break to a go 6-5 up before holding serve to seal a hard-fought 3-6, 6-3, 7-5 victory in just under 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's also his second triumph in Vienna, having also won the title in 2023. And with this, Sinner adds wins at the Australian Open, Wimbledon and the China Open. He also extends his indoor hard-court winning streak to 21 matches ahead of next week's final Masters 1000 of the year in Paris.
Yeah, it feels amazing. You know, it was such a difficult start in this final for me. And now going break down, I had some chances in the first set, couldn't use them. It was serving very, very well. And but you know, I just tried to stick there. You know, into mentally. I'm trying to play my best tennis when it counts. You know, and third set was a bit of a roller coaster, but yeah, was feeling very well the ball at times, so I tried to push, and I'm very happy, of course, to win another title. It's very special.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of our broadcast on World DNA. News and updates to continue on the other side.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency.